Your hosta looked perfect in May. Right now, in July, it is falling apart, and it is not because of the heat. It is because of a handful of small decisions you made weeks ago that are only showing up on the leaves today. Stick around, because one mistake on this list is something almost every hosta owner in America is doing right now. And it is quietly stripping the color right out of their plants without anyone noticing until it is too late. July is the reveal month. Whatever went wrong in spring shows up now as brown edges, papery patches, ragged holes, or strange yellow streaking that spreads between the veins. Most people react the same way. They grab the hose and water more. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes it makes everything worse. And one particular symptom on today's list, if you treat it wrong, can spread through your entire hosta bed before August even starts. That one is coming up later, and it surprises almost everyone who hears it. Here is where most July hosta problems actually start, and almost nobody connects the dots. Hostas have thick, fleshy roots that want deep, steady moisture, not a quick daily splash that barely weights the surface. In July heat, that shallow water disappears in an hour or two and never even reaches the roots. The plant then shows symptoms that get blamed on everything except watering. Crispy tips, afternoon droop, a tired, faded look through late summer. Picture this. A gardener waters lightly every single evening, sees the leaves still drooping by July, and assumes the plant is diseased. The real problem was never disease. It was roots that never got a real drink. Aim for about 1 inch of water a week, split into 2 deep soakings instead of daily sipping. Push a finger 3 or 4 inches into the soil. If it is dry down there, the plant is thirsty, even if the top still looks fine. And here's what most gardeners miss completely. Water the soil, not the leaves. Wet foliage sitting overnight creates the exact damp environment that slugs and leaf disease thrive in. Morning watering on the leaves dries fast and causes no harm. Evening watering on the leaves is basically an open invitation for problems you will be dealing with next week. This next one is the mistake almost everyone gets backwards, and it costs people their most expensive hostas every single year. Most gardeners assume browning and pale patches mean their hosta needs water. Often it actually means the plant is getting scorched, and pouring on more water only delays you noticing the real cause. Here is why it happens, even when you did nothing wrong. As the sun climbs higher through summer, spots that were shaded in April can end up in direct afternoon sun by July, even though nothing in your yard physically changed. The plant did not move. The sun did. Once a leaf scorches, that damage is permanent on that leaf. But new growth from the crown can still come in healthy if the light problem gets corrected. This is where things become expensive if you are growing named varieties. Blue hostas take the hit hardest. Their color comes from a waxy coating that direct sun breaks down, and once it is gone, the blue will not return until fresh leaves emerge next season. Gold and yellow varieties handle a little morning sun just fine and actually deepen in color from it. But afternoon light past noon pushes even tough varieties past their limit. Check your hosta bed specifically between noon and 4 in the afternoon. That window alone tells you whether a spot is working or quietly failing. Before we go further, remember that streaking symptom from the very beginning. It is not sun damage, and it is not slugs. We are getting to exactly what it is and why it spreads so easily. But first, there's a mistake hiding right under your feet that kills otherwise healthy hostas without a single warning sign. By July, spring mulch has compacted and lost most of its power. Refresh it to about 2 to 4 inches using shredded bark, chopped leaves, or pine needles. Good mulch keeps roots cooler, holds moisture longer, and smooths out the wild soil temperature swings of summer. But here's the part almost nobody warns you about. Piling mulch directly against the crown. The exact spot where all the stems emerge from the soil creates a warm, damp pocket where crown rot can develop underground for weeks before anything shows above the surface. By the time the plant collapses, the damage has already been done and there is nothing left to save. Leave 2 to 3 inches of open space around the crown so it can actually breathe. Ragged, Irregular holes scattered across your hosta leaves, not clean cuts, almost always means slugs feeding at night in cool, damp shade. During the day, they hide under pots, boards, and mulch, so you rarely catch them in the act. Here is a fix that costs nothing. Go out with a flashlight about an hour after sunset for a few nights in a row and hand-pick them into soapy water. Pair that with soil-level watering only, and the population drops fast. Now for the symptom we opened this video with, because this is the one that trips up even experienced gardeners. Yellow or brown streaks that follow the leaf veins precisely, almost like tiny rivers, usually point to foliar nematodes, microscopic pests traveling through the moisture film inside the leaf. This is where a real misdiagnosis gets expensive. One gardener notices the streaking, assumes it is just sun stress, keeps watering the foliage as usual, and unknowingly spreads nematodes across the entire bed within weeks. If you see this streaking, do not compost those leaves. Bag them for trash instead. Switch immediately to base watering only, and clean any tool that touched the plant before it touches another one. There is also a rarer look-alike worth knowing. A mottled watercolor style blotching around the veins, sometimes paired with twisted or puckered leaf texture. That pattern can indicate a viral issue with no cure, where the only safe move is removing the plant entirely and disinfecting your tools with hydrogen peroxide. If you ever see this pattern, confirm it with your local extension office before doing anything else. Misidentifying this one is exactly how it spreads fastest through a garden. One more thing most people get wrong before your hostas head in the fall, and it has nothing to do with pests or water. Most established hostas growing in decent soil with a little compost do not need much feeding at all. If you have been fertilizing through spring, July is your cutoff point, and this is not a suggestion you can bend. Late-season nitrogen pushes soft new growth right when the plant should be slowing down and preparing for dormancy. That tender new growth is the first thing damaged when early fall frost arrives, and by then it is too late to undo it. Here is the real shift in how you should think about July. It is not the month to push your hostas harder. It is the month to protect what they have already built. Every symptom you have seen today, the browning, the streaking, the holes, the faded blue, was your plant telling you something specific, not asking for more water, and definitely not more fertilizer. So here is the question worth sitting with tonight. How many of your hostas July symptoms have you been blaming on the wrong cause this whole time?